There's a disease prevalent in modern writing. Most of us writers suffer from it, but there is treatment. Here's the disease and 10 tips you can use to treat it and ultimately write better, clearer, and more impactfully. Enjoy.
Clutter is the disease of American writing. We are a society strangling in unnecessary words, circular constructions, pompous frills, and meaningless jargon. William Zinnser on writing well. But how can we recognize clutter, and how can we cut this disease out of our writing? Per Zinnser, the secret of good writing is to strip every sentence to its cleanest components. Every word that serves no function, every long word that could be a short word, every adverb that carries the same meaning that's already in the verb, every passive construction that leaves the reader unsure of who is doing what. These are the 1,001 adulterants that weaken the strength of a sentence, and they usually occur in proportion to education and rank. In other words, being smart and well-educated won't save your communication from clutter. For that, you need to aggressively rewrite and ruthlessly cut what weakens your words. Some guidelines for cutting the clutter. And a hat tip, I borrowed some of this from Richard Norquist, a professor of English and rhetoric and the author of 3 books on writing. Number 1, reduce long clauses to shorter phrases where possible. Now keep in mind, a clause is a sensible grouping of words containing both a subject and a verb. An independent or main clause expresses a complete thought and can stand on its own as a sentence. A dependent or subordinate clause begins with a relative pronoun or subordinating conjunction and expresses only part of a thought, so it can't be a sentence on its own. A phrase may contain a subject without a verb without a subject, or a bunch of adjectives or other sentence parts with neither a subject nor verb. But if it has a subject and a verb, it's a clause. Which clauses can you reduce to shorter phrases? Number 2, reduce phrases to single words. Again, both of these are to do it where possible without sacrificing meaning or impact. Number 3, avoid there is, there are, or there were as sentence openers, generally. These types of sentence openers not only add extra words without adding any extra meaning, they also sound pretty passive and boring. Number 4, don't overwork modifiers. This includes adverbs, adjectives, and modifying phrases. Use only what is necessary to build the image or idea you're trying to create in your reader's mind. Number 5, avoid redundancies. Intentional repetition for rhetorical effect can be an immensely effective tool for grabbing your reader's attention. Unintentional repetition, usually a result of lazy revision or a lack of knowledge or awareness on the writer's part, tends to bore or even annoy readers. Number 6, use active verbs. Passive voice is occasionally necessary and desirable, and of course we need to use linking to-be verbs when they're called for, but most of your prose should propel your reader forward via verbs that denote action. And in line with the modifiers guidelines stated before, use adverbs only when they are necessary to change the meaning of the verb. Don't try to amplify verbs with adverbs or other modifiers. Just choose stronger action verbs. Number 7, don't try to show off. Kill your darlings, in other words. Form should follow function. Your style or voice should serve the story or message you're trying to convey. Extra frills that communicate nothing won't make you sound smarter or more literary as a writer. Number 8, cut empty phrases. George Orwell gives some examples of these. Phrases like, a not unjustifiable assumption, leaves much to be desired, would serve no good purpose, a consideration which we should do well to bear in mind, etc. You'd be amazed how many of these and their ilk can crop up in your writing without you even realizing it. Number 9, avoid using noun forms of verbs, also known as nominalization, where you change a verb or adjective into a noun, like making destroy into destruction. Generally avoid those shun words wherever possible. The same goes for isms. When you can, keep your verbs, verbs, and your nouns, nouns. Number 10, replace vague nouns with more specific words. The more specific you can be, the clearer and more compelling the images you'll create in your reader's brain. If you're only talking about people doing things, you'll lose your readers faster than I get a sunburn in the summer.
I hope that helped you diagnose and treat the disease of clutter in your own work. Please leave your comments on this lesson down below. Which of these do you think was the most impactful? And like the video and subscribe to the channel while you're down there. Consider clicking the join button and becoming a member and getting lots more stuff for a cheap price and helping me out. I really appreciate it, as I do all my current members. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, good luck and good writing. Peace.